Okay, we were just talking about the different trips around Pontefract. Now, the 6 furlong and the 5 furlong, obviously there's 2 sprint courses. They're really a long straight, would you say a furlong and a half before they come to the bend into the home straight?
The bend into the home straight, it's a sweeping bend. It's in effect it's a 90-degree bend which starts from about 3 furlongs and 3 furlong marker and goes round to the 2 furlong marker. So it's relatively tight. You wouldn't want to be coming too wide into the home straight, I wouldn't thought, round the bend. But as I said before, you have a good long stretch from 6 furlong on the 5 furlong start before you need to be getting round the bend.
And how do they tend to come down the finish straight then towards the finish on the sprints? Do they come down the centre of the track, or are they always hugging that inside rail?
It tends to depend on the ground. If we've had a lot of rain and the course is quite soft, we often find that horses fan out across the home straight, and you'll find them coming right up the stand side rail
To get fresher ground.
to get some fresher ground where it's not poached. When the ground is good to firm around that mark, you generally find that they're sticking on the far side rail, not wanting to give away too much ground.
And as Clark, talking about the different ground conditions, does it take rain well here, or...?
In normal summers it takes rain extremely well. We had an unprecedented year last year. It rained on, I think, 14 of our 16 race days, and we actually lost a race meeting on the 9th of July due to waterlogging. We had a period of around about 10 days where we had about 6 inches of rain. It was unprecedented, and the course just had enough. Generally, it's a very well-draining course, and we're finding in a normal summer we're having to water quite a lot, purely because it drains so well.
Yeah, I was just talking to Norman earlier, and he said you were even thinking of watering this week because it was getting drier.
Yes, we race next Tuesday, so in 4 or 5 days' time. We were getting quite quick, but we had 20 mils of rain on Monday night into Tuesday, and it's done the job perfectly. It's not beyond the realms of possibility that if the weather stays like this, then we may have to put a bit of water on just to maintain, but at the moment we don't have any plans to.
And how do you water? Is it an irrigator you have?
Yeah, we have an Upton irrigator which is pulled by a tractor. It means that we can put as much or as little water on every part of the course as we want. It's extremely beneficial to us as clerks when we walk around, because we can say we need 5 millimetres there, we need 8 millimetres there, we need 2 there, or you need to go as fast as you can and miss it out. So we can even the course up as much as possible.
Very consistent all the way round then. Yeah.
That's what we aim for anyway. Obviously there are areas which we know drain better, and we try to avoid overwatering there. And we have areas which we know get quite tacky. And
you said down in that little dip at the 3.5 furlong point, that is.
We actually lost a race meeting there about 5 years ago, when we had water standing in the dip. We had an inch. The rest of the course was fine. We had an inch of rain on this Sunday morning, and it just couldn't take it. It went from good to soft. An inch of rain, and then there was some water standing in the dip. By 4 o'clock in the
water table higher there, then, or it's nearer the water table?
It's nearer the water table. By 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it drained away. It just couldn't take it at that rate at that time. Yeah.
And the bends you talked about it being quite tight coming into the home straight there, a sort of sweeping, but it is tight to get position. How's the rest of the course then? It's quite generous, isn't it? Quite galloping bends.
Yeah, the tightest bend would be coming round into the 6 furlong marker. It's a tight bend, is that, and you often find that horses fan out coming round the bend and then move back onto the rail.
So that'd affect what the 1 mile start, would it?
Yeah, but it's a furlong and a half after the 1 mile start, so you can get a position, and then plenty of room to kind of get a position again once you've turned the bend. The other bends, certainly, and the long distance races, they're lovely long sweeping bends all the way down to the back of the mile start when you have your first proper bend.
And in the longer races, then the 2 mile races, do you usually have one on each card, or is it sort of a special long distance day you have here?
We have 8 races throughout the season over the staying distances, and we actually run a stayers championship as well, where you have 10 points for the winner, 6 for the second.
Who won that last year then?
I can't remember. And that's now going to annoy me. So we have 8 races throughout the season for that. We don't race around the back of the lake for the long distance race in July, purely because we would be watering half a mile of the track for one race. And in a normal season, when we are having to water quite a lot, it's a waste of water to water the whole of the back of the lake for one race in a month. So we purely have the long distance races April, May, one in June, and then we start again at the end of August.
And is it all flat horses in the long distance races, or do you get some sort of out of season jumps horses coming? Or national hunt
absolutely, we get the national hunt horses, and I'd like to attract a few of the bigger national hunt trainers. I mentioned to you earlier we had Hidden Justice won one of the staying races earlier this season. And he
running at York today.
He was last seen over jumps in the Triumph Hurdle at the festival, so we certainly do attract some decent
quality national hunts.
Yeah.
Lovely. Well, we'll talk in the next part of the video, I think, just a bit about the statistics of jockeys and trainers who come here, things like that, if we can.
Yep.